Good morning. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing Deck the Halls. Deck the Hall. One hall with boughs of holly. Number 235 in your hymnal. Deck the hall with boughs of holly. La 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly. La 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel. La 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 la. Join the ancient Yuletide carol. La 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us. La 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus. La 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 la. Follow me in merry measure. La 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure. La 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 la. Fast away the old year passes. La 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 la. Hail the new ye lads and lasses. La 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 la. Sing we joyous all together. La 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather. La 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 la. Please be seated.
Good morning. And welcome to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say on this wet Sunday morning. And you are here. That is so awesome. My name is Reverend Jacqueline Brett. I'm the lead minister here. And whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and wherever you are in your search for truth, meaning, and freedom, you are welcome here in beloved community. If you are visiting with us this morning for the first, or perhaps even the second time, or the third time, or how many other times, we invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you an ERUUF welcome. Thank you all for choosing to spend this wet Sunday morning with us. This week, for those of you who may not know, our Inquirers class and our religious exploration classes for our children, actually this week through the end of the year, are on hiatus, as our next services over the next few weeks are all multi-generational. So they will come back the first week in January. On this particular Sunday, and I forgot to say, for those of you who are watching on the live stream, if you have access to it, we invite you also, if you are visiting with us, to put your name in the chat where you will also receive a welcome. This week, we are doing what is a uniquely Unitarian Universalist celebration of the Festival of Lessons and Carols. This festival is celebrated in congregations around the country, and as you use, of course, we have to do our own thing on it, right? So we have lessons that are, let me tell you what happened. So what happened was, all of our music groups offered a song, and they offered a carol or a song or something they wanted to present. And then that music was given to us as the senior staff and the ministers, and we reflected on what lesson we might offer from our own lives based on the music that is being offered. And so, thus, we have Unitarian Universalist lessons and carols. And we're not the only UU congregation that does it in that way, but what I think is uniquely ours is we have an amazing, amazing music program, which you are going to get to hear a lot of today. And with that in mind, note that this will be a longer than usual service because bodies have to move up and bodies have to move down. We have little ones, we have older ones, and so this will be a longer than usual service. I do want you to know that for our next two services this year, Christmas Eve will take place only at 5 p.m., which is our pageant, and at 7 p.m., which is our candlelight service. In between the two services is hot cider and hot chocolate and some cookies that you are more than welcome to participate in. And if you want to find out how you might bring some things, just see Alice Alexander about that. On December 31st, we will also only have one service at 11 a.m., and on that day we will celebrate Kwanzaa as we do every year. And after that service is the Karamu, which is an amazing, amazing feast that is being coordinated by Diane Blount, members of the multicultural team, Chalice circles, and covenant groups, and lots of volunteers. The food is really good, y'all, if you haven't been there before. So it's a good reason to come. So now would be a great time to turn off or down any devices, put them on vibrate that you have on your person, especially if you're performing. And so let's all center ourselves into this time and into this space. And let's all together take a deep breath in and let it out. And let us begin. It is a wonder and mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create together.
May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here.
As we light our chalice this morning, let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together. On this third Sunday of Advent, we light the candles of peace, hope, and joy. May it be so. Take that down.
just down the road from my apartment, maybe a quarter mile or so, and they were a delightful summer treat. Frankly, the only thing that had gotten me out of bed that morning as I wrestled with grief, change, and growing pains. I walked past the persimmon trees that dotted my path, knowing that these would not be fruiting for many more months, and they had fruit far more sour than I was used to buying at the store. When I arrived at the wild blackberry bushes, I tenderly plucked these small, bitter berries. I had to be cautious not to get caught in the brambles and thorns which easily cut the skin, making every single berry a gift received at the cost of either great patience or a drop of blood. As I picked these berries, I'm transported back in time to many similar moments. Back to wild berry bushes in the woods of British Columbia, a welcome snack for any moody 19-year-old trying to figure out his life during a summer studying abroad. Back to sugarberries growing behind a centuries-old Chatham County cemetery where I found myself spending a lot of time contemplating the questions that divinity school had offered me. Back to woodland strawberries, so very different than the ones we'd find in fluorescent-lit grocery stores, offering to me so much comfort on the banks of the Haw River as I waded in to pray, read, and take a nap on the rocks under the old Bynum Bridge. Back to jelly pindo fruit at the base of palm trees in Wilmington, just on the coast here, gathered in abundance when I was in high school, while I ruminated and rejected the angry, hateful image of God that my childhood church had offered me. How many little comforts had the earth offered me when my heart felt cold and my soul so lost and confused? Beyond fruits, roots, and stems, there were sunsets and sunrises, babbling brooks and mountain springs, towering trees and lowly mosses, new greens and fallen reds and yellows. How often have I taken these gifts for granted? Or missed them entirely, too focused on Monday morning traffic or Friday evening deadlines? Too often, I'd wager. But now I snap back to where I was with the ripe blackberries gathered, but so many more remaining, pinks and reds that kept inviting me to return to this place of solace, to taste and see again that the earth is good. I know I'll be back both tomorrow and throughout my life. Perhaps not to the same spot as life continues to change and move to new places and spaces, but I will return to the abode of the same earth and spirit who resides in the ground under every step I take.
soul-cake, an apple, a pear, a plum, a cherry, any good thing to make us merry. Soul-cake, please good Mrs. a soul-cake. 1 for Peter, 2 for Paul, 3 for him that made us all. The streets are very dirty, my shoes are very thin. I have a little pocket to put a penny in. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Soul-cake, please good Mrs. a soul-cake. Apple, pear, plum, or cherry, any good thing to make us merry. Soul-cake, please good Mrs. a soul-cake. 1 for Peter, 2 for Paul, 3 for him that made us all.
Now, soul-cake,
please good Mrs. a soul-cake. Apple, pear, plum, or cherry, any good thing to make us merry. 1 for Peter, 2 for Paul, 3 for him who made us all. 1 for him who made us all, 3 for him who made us all. Tidings of comfort and joy.
Pas de Pan is a popular French Christmas carol that dates back to the 16th century. According to Wikipedia, the carol revolves around the birth of Jesus and is told from the perspective of shepherds playing simple instruments, flutes and drums, the sound of which gives the song its name. Pas de Pan is meant to mimic the sound of the drum, and the lyric, tooraloo, the flute. This is similar conceptually to the carol more widely known in the U.S. of The Little Drummer Boy, with its chorus of pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. Pas de Pan is a simple carol as Christmas songs go, and doesn't focus on religious praise. Rather, the shepherds are playing joyfully for Jesus. The song conjures up the festive spirit of Christmas with the words, "When we hear the fife and drum, Christmas should be frolicsome. When you hear the fife and drum, dance and make the village hum." Christmas was a secular holiday in my growing up household in Northern Virginia. Christmas translated to gift giving and gift getting and lots of candy. What was imparted to me was the joy of gathering family and friends and celebrating a spirit of love and creativity. My musical family enjoyed caroling, and we were encouraged to make our own Christmas decorations. We did not celebrate Christmas in a religious fashion. However, my maternal grandmother, a devout Presbyterian, opened up my awareness of Christianity and the meaning for her of Christmas. On my grandmother's visits, she carried with her a Bible and kept it by her bedside. When I told her, "My father doesn't believe in God," she didn't argue. She simply said, "I do believe in God and the love of Jesus." I was immediately struck, and it has stayed with me to this day, her approach of sharing her own story rather than trying to persuade me that my father was wrong. In my young adulthood, Christmas became stressful as my partner and I negotiated who we would visit of 3 households after my parents' divorce. Perhaps many of you have experienced this dilemma. In my later 20s, I realized I needed to revamp my approach to Christmas. I sought out a Unitarian fellowship in Fairfax, Virginia. Those Sunday experiences changed not only my appreciation of Christmas to celebrate the life of Jesus without the Son of God assumption, but nurtured my spirit in a way I had not recognized needed nurturing. Later in my career as a nonprofit executive, I had the luxury of reducing operations to minimal between Christmas and New Year's, allowing staff to take a pause. This, for me, has been transformative. To take a breath after the holiday chaos, to take stock of my life and all for which I am grateful, and to prepare for the opportunities of the new year. I wish for each of you a frolicsome Christmas and time to nurture your spirit.
As the children return to their seats, we still have people who are entering into the sanctuary. So I'd like to request, if you can scooch in a little together so that folks know that there's a space for them to sit. There's also space in the chapel if you feel uncomfortable doing that.
When I was a little girl, somewhere between the ages of 5 and, let's say, 8, I had a friend named Jason. Jason lived about 1/4 of the way around our circular suburban block, and I was allowed to ride my bike to his house all by myself, meaning without my little sisters. One of the reasons I loved playing with Jason was because he had the coolest radio flyer wagon, the Town and Country model with removable red wooden sides. Not only did Jason pull me around the block in that super cool wagon, but sometimes he'd hitch it to his green John Deere pedal tractor and pedal me around. Talk about traveling in style. When it was winter, and to my memory, winter in Buffalo, New York in the early 80s meant persistent and deep snow, my dad would bundle up after dinner to snowblow the driveway. Snowblowing created huge snowdrifts on either side of our wide and kind of short driveway. On the right stood two very full and tall pine trees, or pine cone trees, as my sisters and I called them. One winter day, a day far too snowy for town and country wagon rides, Jason and I decided we would tunnel through the snowdrift into the pine trees and create a massively impressive snow fort. We were super excited about our plan, but in practice, it was cold, like really cold. But we had our snowsuits, our moon boots, our hats, our scarves, and 2 layers each of socks and mittens. And we dug until we were probably close to frostbitten, but finally we made it inside the tree. I don't remember many details about that afternoon. I'm not even sure what year it was, but I know that it happened because my mother has photo evidence of Jason and me standing proudly in our blue and red snow gear at the opening of our very cool snow fort. And I know it happened because I so clearly remember the smell of the snow. Let me read to you an excerpt from The Bird's Lullaby by Emily Pauline Johnson, the poem you'll hear in our next carol. Sing to us, cedars, your voice is so lowly, your breathing so fragrant, your branches so strong. Our little nest cradles are swaying so slowly, while zephyrs are breathing their slumberous songs. When I first read these lyrics, I was carried back to that winter afternoon spent exploring a giant pine tree and inhaling the clean, crisp, and magical scent of pine-infused snow.
Have you ever seen a rose? Smelled one? How would you describe this to someone who has never even encountered a flower before? Would you talk about the color, shape, scent, or how it made you feel? Rumi writes, "Come out here where the roses have opened. Let soul and world meet." If the person finally saw the rose after your description, how would things line up? Words and even pictures cannot always fully capture the essence of beauty. Sometimes there's a variance between expectation and reality. This is especially true when it comes to gift giving. Quite a few years ago, as my 3 children were growing up, the bedtime story routine evolved. It was no longer sufficient that I read a story. I had to offer an additional one about an event from my life. One story I shared was about gift giving. Back in the dark ages, before the internet, you could order gifts from a catalog and have them shipped. For Mother's Day, I picked out this beautiful basket of flowers to be delivered to my mom. I imagined her putting it up on her porch and blooms all summer long. Well, when the box arrived, the gift varied greatly from expectation. She called and was genuinely puzzled as to why I would send her a pot of dirt with a stick in it. I was not happy with a certain company that shall remain nameless. My kids thought my story and my reaction were hysterical, and even today, I still feel some kind of way about this gift. If you are ever unsure what to give someone, you can borrow a refrain that's often repeated in my family. Nothing says I love you quite like a pot of dirt with a stick in it. If reality and expectation are at odds, sometimes it can be hard to appreciate or even see the potential in certain gifts. How would you feel if you received a single rose, a bouquet of roses, or a pot of dirt? How would you feel if you were the one offering these gifts? F. Scott Fitzgerald writes, "Teaching you how to grow a garden is better than giving you 1,000 roses." I bet he shopped from the same catalog that I did. Growing a garden, planting seeds. I think I have something to learn here. This holiday season, what would it take to discover literal or metaphorical roses blooming even in winter, even when reality doesn't meet intention? Sometimes life doesn't meet our expectations. Then what? This is when spiritual practice becomes real practice. Finding our center, making a different choice, living our values. The Rose has launched many poems about life, beauty, and love. Today, may it remind us to pause, slow down, shift perspective, appreciate, and remember to see through the eyes of the heart. You're welcome.
One of my favorite children's stories is called On the Day You Were Born, written by Deborah Fraser in the early 90s. It quickly became a classic. I initially thought it would be a typical story about a family getting ready for a child's birth, but it exceeded my expectations in being so much more. First, I was deeply moved that the book's dedication page says, "For Mother Earth, born 4.5 billion years ago." Which, though today books are sometimes dedicated to the earth, back in the early 90s, it was pretty rare. And it's also dedicated to baby Kaleb, born on June 1st, 1988. And the book is also to you, the reader or listener, and I suppose whatever day and year we were born. My heart was hooked by this dedication and what is a story told in verse, because rather than people alone welcoming a child to their family, the entire earth celebrates the arrival of a newborn baby. It begins on the eve of your birth. Word of your coming passed from animal to animal. The reindeer told the Arctic terns, who told the humpback whales, who told the Pacific salmon, who told the monarch butterflies, who told the green turtles, who told the European eel, who told the busy garden warblers, and the marvelous news migrated worldwide. As the story proceeds, the rest of the earth, its elements, and the celestial bodies all get in on the act until Deborah Fraser writes, "On the day you were born, the earth turned, the moon pulled, the sun flared, and then with a push, you slipped out of the quiet dark where suddenly you could hear a circle of people singing, with voices familiar and clear. And as they held you close, they whispered into your open, curving ear, 'We are so glad you've come.'" As I read these words to my two children of how the earth, the cosmos, and people had welcomed them with joyous love, I watched their faces as they listened intently, with their eyes wide and thoughtful and their hearts deeply affirmed. I was glad to be imparting into the core of their being this understanding of themselves and their relationship with the earth and how it sustains them, and that people loved them, even if life would later teach them otherwise, even if I had to prepare them for these other teachings, whatever they might be, as many of us do for our children all around the world. But I felt at least they would know at the outset that by all that truly mattered, by all who truly mattered, that we were glad they were here, that their lives, just like the earth itself and all that is in it, are sacred. About 140 million babies are born every year in the world, which averages to more than 4 births every second of every single day. This would mean that, based on what Deborah Fraser writes, every second of every day, Earth and all that is in it and above it is in ever constant celebration that each human is born. An interdependent celebration that allows us all to be here. A constant celebration of our continual arrival that is quite extraordinary to imagine, and an act of faith. I hold in my heart this belief for all children everywhere the world over, however they come to be born, fully knowing that some will not make it or will enter into life's most challenging circumstances. I believe this as an act of faith that the earth and all of the cosmos care. As I remember the looks on the faces of my two sons when they heard this story and imagined just how special and sacred they are, that their lives are in the great all that is. And that the day on which they were born was a holy one, long before anyone or anything gave them any reason to feel or believe otherwise. For those newly born, I want to know that the earth and all of the cosmos will continue to care and will celebrate with gladness even when humans fail terribly. As the book implies, this will take acts of faith as interdependent actions on our part, that the entire earth will continue to be in ever constant celebration of every child on each holy day and holy night. I invite you to join with me in opening our hearts for a moment of silent contemplation and prayer. Dear all that is, loving us, nurturing us, sustaining us, may we remember who we are, whose we are, and the great fullness of what we are each a part of. May wisdom guide us into actions of right relationship that reflect our understanding of interdependence and deep gratitude for all that is, understanding that we sustain one another, the earth and its elements. We lift up in this moment all the children of the world, especially those born on this day and in this holy and sacred instant, and those born in challenging or dire circumstances. May the energies of our meditations, contemplations of our hearts, and actions of our hands ripple out to good impact toward the concerns of those throughout this community, across our cities, and around the world. And finally, we cultivate and lift up the joys and hopes and dreams of all those, young and old, because joy is a needed salve in the midst of our concerns. On all the days and nights of our lives, each of which is holy, we hold these in our hearts. May it be so. Amen and Ashe.
Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, Christ was born. O night divine, O night divine. Led by the light of faith serenely beaming, with glowing hearts by his cradle we stand. So, led by light of a star sweetly gleaming, here came the wise men from the Orient land. The King of Kings lay thus in lowly manger. In all our trials, born to be our friend. He knows our need, to our weakness no stranger. Behold your King before the holy band. Behold your King before him bend. Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise his holy name. Christ is the Lord. Then ever praise we his power and glory.
According to Reverend Michael Beckwith, 100% of spiritual growth, development, and unfolding is about letting go. In August, I traveled to Pennsylvania to officiate my first vow renewal ceremony. It turned into a magical day full of joy with great food, spirits, and lots of dancing. The next day, I checked out of the hotel. And when I arrived back home in North Carolina, I realized I had left something very special behind, my journal. In the drawer of the nightstand. Of course, the realization shook me, and after all of the joyful celebrating, the first 24 hours that followed were very sobering. I quickly became Detective Shawn, and after a few calls to the hotels, I was still pretty optimistic that the universe would surely drop my journal back into my lap. But 48 hours later, the reality of that happening grew dim. I had no intention of writing about my experience if it were not for the gentle nudges from our ministers, Reverend Jacqueline, who intuitively knew months ago that the lesson could make for a fitting reflection for a special service. And of course, Reverend Daniel, who just last week reminded us all about the power and bravery in being vulnerable in our storytelling. I've been writing since I could formulate words on paper, at least that's what I've been telling myself. I think I fell in love with the way writing instruments glide across the page and how I had the power to create symbols before I knew words that could somehow express the way I was feeling. Writing has been my medicine, my healing practice, and my go-to guide for navigating life. I'm not sure when I started journaling, but I know it was near the time I read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, by Judy Blume, or Go Ask Alice, anonymously written by Beatrice Sparks. These books were catalysts that inspired my writing practice. It's probably no surprise that most of my journals start off with, Dear God. To me, a good journal is like a good pen, and there's nothing more satisfying than finishing up one and reaching for a new one. With just a few more pages left, the one I left behind was near complete. It was magical, it was affirming, it was my manifestation journal. Then, like magic, it was gone. An entire chunk of my life, spanning about 2 years, just poof. Grieving is a process that shows up differently for everyone. I had an aunt who lost all of her journals in Hurricane Katrina and totally stopped writing. Would I repeat a pattern that would rob me of so much joy, healing, and comfort? So I sat with sadness, then surrendered to the experience. Surrendering gets a bad rap, but it can be really supportive. Perhaps the journal did get thrown out, but if not, I imagine that someone would be incredibly blessed with the prayers and the magic writing that was sprinkled all throughout. Then I picked up a pen and took my feelings to a new journal and went on a journey. Here's the cover. She's beautiful. The serendipitous gift that was opened was given to me last year, of course. The inscription, Dear Shawn, As soon as I laid eyes upon this, I thought of you and smiled with appreciation for your bright, creative spirit, Reverend Jacqueline. So perhaps you've lost something dear. May you find the courage to surrender, let go, and find your magic, because you are, and I am. Rise up, shepherds, and follow. There are stars in the east. Cheers to your magical journey.
At this time, we will collect this morning's offering. And if you wonder what we do with the offering, well, this morning it is going to, it will benefit families moving forward. Know that our offering benefits all of this, all that we get to create together. And so as the greeters come forward, please place your offerings into the new devices we have going around the room. And if you do not have anything material to put in for the offering, you may point your device at the QR code on the screen, or there is also a card in the pew racks that you can also point your device to that QR code as well.
There's a star in the east on Christmas morn. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. It will lead to the place where the Christ
We give our great thanks for all of the gifts of beloved community and the abundance of music that we have here at ERUUF. Let's give all of our musicians appreciation. As well as Dr. Wendy, who leads this vast enterprise of ours.
And one last lesson today. My lesson today is not fancy. In ways, it is the mundanity of life. It's a story of my arguments with my ex-husband. He is not a bad person. He is not a bad person, but we definitely had more than our share of arguments. I began to think of our arguments like a layer cake. One person would lay down a point of cake that they needed to discuss. We would cover that with a not-so-delicious frosting of words. This would prompt the other person to lay down another layer of pointed argument or conflict cake, followed by a frosting of words, followed by another conflict, words, you get the point. A brief aside to say that the problem with this metaphor is that I actually love all forms of cake, and especially layer cake. I mean, you get lush layers of decadent frosting combined with delicious cake, but I digress. We were always left with this layer cake of an argument. All of these conflicts stacked on top of one another, and none of them with any resolution, all held together by a sticky situation of the words we had said. It was almost impossible to get to the bottom of the cake, imagining that you eat layer cake from the top to the bottom, mind you. Go with me on this. It was hard to get to the bottom of the cake or the bottom of the conflict. In the way, we needed to find a way to just remove the cake entirely and start anew. But somehow, to do that without anger or bitterness, a challenge. This is the deep challenge of actual, real, deep peace. Actual, real, deep peace. When we talk of peace on earth, in my mind, we speak of people in conflict, deciding that they are wanting to meet together and find a way to live together, to create a world that is life-giving and sustainable for all the parties involved. These are layer cake situations, often with years or generations of pain and complex relationships. Relationships can be hard enough to bring to a peaceful place when it's only two people involved. But often with massive groups of people involved, all of whom may have their own views, their own opinions, their own ideas of what needs to be. Also, all of those people who may or may not have leaders who want to lead them toward peace or feel like they can. And all of those people potentially having their own pain and trauma. Finding resolution, finding a way to move forward can be infinitely more complex. Peace is not simple. Peace is not quiet. Peace is a deep commitment to navigate a diversity of perspectives, needs, loves, and to keep committing to that day after day after day, knowing the beauty that could come of it. So, as we sing and speak of peace in this season and in every season, let us hold the immensity of complexity in creating that peace and the overwhelming beauty that could come in its true manifestation.
would please rise in body or spirit and join me and the beloved community chorus in our closing carol, which is not in the hymnal, but you'll see it on the screen. Children, go where I send thee. And you just need to count and follow directions.
Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one, one poor little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 2 by 2, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 3 by 3, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby was born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 4 by 4, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby was born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 5 by 5, 5 for the gospel preachers, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby. He was born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 6 by 6, 6 for the 6 that never got fixed, 5 for the gospel preachers, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby. He was born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 12 by 12, 12 for the gospel apostles, 11 for the 11 deep riders, 10 for the 10 commandments, 9 for the 9 all dressed so fine, 8 for the 8 that stood at the gate, 7 for the 7 that never got to heaven, 6 for the 6 that never got fixed, 5 for the gospel preachers, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for little bitty baby. He was born in Bethlehem. He was born in Bethlehem.
This morning's closing words are by Johann Leave.
It must be somewhere the original harmony, somewhere in nature, hidden.
It is in the furious infinite, in distant stars' orbits. Is it in the sun's scorn?
In a tiny flower, in tree gossip, in harp music's mother song, or in tears.
It must be somewhere, immortality. Somewhere the original harmony must be found. How else could it infuse the human soul, that music? Go in peace, go in love, go with your heart infused with music. Amen, ashe, and blessed be. Shawn.